Hi everybody, welcome back to Small Caliber Arms Review. I'm Richard, and today we're going to take this, the lowly Ruger 1022, and we're going to transform it into something a little cooler, a little smaller, and pretty tactical looking. Anyways, I've got a couple boxes here on my bench that was sent to me by Badger Gun Stocks out of Illinois, and they're a kit to take your Ruger 1022, your Marlin Model 60, or your Marlin Model 795 and transform it into a BullPup. Let's get one of these boxes opened up. We'll do the Ruger 1022 first and show you how it works. Alright, we'll take the first box here. This is the one with the Ruger 1022 kit in it. And like I said, what this does is takes a Ruger 1022 and puts it in this nice little convenient BullPup stock. And it's really pretty neat because he's pretty much thought of everything in here. And it's just pretty much a drop-in. You can take your Ruger 1022 stock off, drop it in here, and you're ready to go. He does include a couple attachment points on there for some other accessories. And the accessories are in a little pouch here. And this is set up for either the regular barrel or a bull barrel. You've got this little insert that goes in there if you have the regular thin barrel. Snaps right down in there, which is what I've got, the regular barrel. So we'll snap this in there. We'll put the action and everything in this Badger 1022 stock. He includes a rail that goes on top of it. This is made by UTG, but it fits on the Ruger 1022, and that allows you to put your sight, your scope, or whatever whatever kind of optic you want on there. Allows it to put a little bit farther forward, or you can still use the regular open sights on it. Let's get the 1022 up here, get it taken apart, get it dropped in this stock, and see how it works. Alright, I've got the magazine out of the gun. The gun is unloaded, there's nothing in there. So now what we got to do on mine anyways, mine is one of the newer ones, so I've got my couple Allen wrenches, and we'll get this thing taken out of there. We'll take the band off the front first. Just loosen that up, slide the band right off the front there, and go ahead and take the one screw out that holds the action into the stock there. Like I said, this is the birch stock, so it's the cheaper one, and if you really want a neat looking bullpup designed rifle, this is actually a pretty good choice for it, because like I said, this one pretty much just drops right in. Now remember, when you take this apart, you got to get that safety selector kind of lined up, centered up in there, because it'll get hung up on the stock. But let's get this out, get it set off to the side. Then we'll take the Badger stock here. Now there's this little cover that goes over it, and it pops right off. So all you got to do is take that off, and you can see this is the piece that's going to go down in your existing trigger under. You don't have to disassemble anything else from the original 1022. You just take it off and drop it in here pretty much. Now that cover will cover up this action rod or reaction rod here. It does already have a trigger in it that moves that to activate your trigger, your existing trigger on the 1022. I've got the action taken out. Now, like I said, this is the regular thin barrel on here. It's not the bull barrel. So we'll take this piece and get it put in here. Now there are three little tabs that go down in there. There's little slots for it in there. Push it in there. Line those other tabs up in the side. Get them pushed down in there. Now that'll take up any of the slop that might be between this stock and the thinner barrel. If you have the bull barrel, you'll take that piece out and leave it out of there. Now let's go ahead and get our safety selector lined up as close as we can to the center. It wants to pop from one side to the other because that's what it's supposed to do. But we'll get this picked up, get your rod pulled out of the way a little bit, and it should drop right down in there. There it goes right in there, and then your selector, safety selector, is still going to be usable there. And then you've got this little cam piece here that goes inside your trigger. Now when you pull the trigger up here, it actually pushes that trigger back. It is adjustable. You've got a screw on there that adjusts it on that rod, so if you want to take up any of that slop, so you want to eliminate the slop, so when you got a nice firm trigger pull on here, it works it back there. Alright, once you've got your action into the new BullPup stock, you'll want to take your screw out of your original stock, which it's a captive unit, but what that does is just a long bare spot on the screw there that kind of slides around. You have to pull it back out a little bit and unthread it from the bushing that's mounted in the wood stock. Now, depending on what year your Ruger 1022 was made, it may have a Phillips screw in it. It may have the Allen head like that one's got. Now, you don't have to get it super tight. Once you've got that in there, you'll want to check it before you put the cover back on it. And like I said, this one is unloaded. We'll go ahead and cock it, and we'll pull that trigger, and we'll look at what kind of slop it may have in there, and it's pretty tight up against it. So we'll try it. Oh, got to take the safety off. So we'll go ahead and try it, and it seems to be pretty tight in there. And there's a little bit of slop there right now, but once you cock it again, it pushes the trigger forward just a little bit to take up any of that slop. So there's no more slop in it again. And it does fire just, it feels right to me. We'll go ahead and put this cover back on. Now the cover is going to cover up your existing trigger. It's going to help hold that rod where it needs to be so it doesn't wiggle around on you. You don't get hung up on anything. And we'll take this and snap it right over top of there. And once you've got that cover on there, in the little bag of screws, you're going to have some little screws that are going to fit right down inside there. They have the brass inserts molded into the stock there, so they should hold nice and firm. Give them a little snugging, that's all it's going to need. Make sure that fits on there tightly. Now you'll notice you can still access your factory safety on there. You still got the ability to use it. There's no other safeties on it other than the factory one, which is the one that you want anyways. Alright, you've got it all in there. You've got the bolt snug down. You've got the cover on it. You've still got access to your safety there. You've still got access to the ejection port right there. Everything is just like it's supposed to be, except now you got a Ruger 1022 in a lot shorter package. It just moves the action back. It doesn't become a short barrel rifle because the overall length of it is still the legal length. I think it's 27 inches, and I think this ends up being like 27.5 inches. So you got a 1/2 inch safety on there. The barrel is still the same length. All it does is move everything a little closer into you. Now, I have open sights on this rifle, and it's fine because they can still be used. You got the little buckhorn on the back there and the bead sight on the front, and you can still get down there close enough. This is low enough where you can get your cheek down in there, and I get a good sight picture with it. Now, if you had an optic on your Ruger 1022, that's not a problem either because, like I said, this is manufactured by UTG. UTG is Under the Gun is the name of the company, and I have a lot of different products from them. I have bipods, I have different rail pieces, I have a lot of stuff from UTG. I do like their products, but this UTG product is a rail specifically made for the Ruger 1022, and what this does is it has the holes in there that match up with the holes in the top of the receiver on the Ruger 1022. I'm not going to put this one on here, but it mounts right on the front, and if you've got that rear buckhorn sight on there, you don't have to worry about it. There is a recess or an opening on here that fits right over top of that. Those holes line up with the holes in your receiver, and there is, wherever the bag went to, they do include the screws that you need inside that bag there to mount this on the rifle. Then once you've got it mounted on there, if you've got an optic, now you have the option to move it forward on there to give you the eye relief that you need. And I mean, you've still got the option to put something back here if you want. It's going to be a little close to your face, but it gives you that piece that's farther out there. You can put a red dot on it. You can still put a scope on it if you want to, because it'll get you far enough away from there no matter what kind of eye relief you need for it. But there it is. Now I do have the barrel bands to put on there. I do have the screws and the nut that goes in the barrel band, and same way, just like the one you took off of your Ruger 1022, slides over the front. And like I said, depending on what barrel you've got on there, you pick the one that you need. This one is the right one here for the smaller profile barrel. Put that on there, put your screws in it. The little accessory rails, if you want to put it on the side, mount a laser on there, mount a flashlight on there, whatever you've got. Now you've got the Ruger 1022 in a much more compact package. It's comfortable. Like I said, I'm going to shoot the open sights on it, so it's right there where it needs to be. It's really a comfortable package. It shortens up the rifle. Maybe if you've got a younger shooter or someone that's a little bit smaller and doesn't want to hold that Ruger 1022 way out there, this will shorten it up for them too, and give you a nice compact rifle here. If you're going to take it out and do some squirrel hunting or varmint hunting or whatever you're going to do, rabbit, whatever. Makes it a little easier to carry through the woods too, because you don't have this great big long rifle. If you're in a, you know, kind of enclosed brushy area or something, you're trying to move this longer rifle around, get it hung up on the weeds and branches and brush and all that kind of stuff. This keeps it a little bit closer. It does have a swivel stud on the front there and one on the back, so if you're going to mount a, you know, carry it with a sling, you've got the option to do that. Keep it down low by your side if you want to, pull it up, you're ready to go. It's a nice little feature, and had Ruger made a 1022 like this, I probably would have bought it from them, but Badger Gun Stocks makes this accessory for the Ruger 1022. They also make it for the 795 and the Model 60, and we'll get this one put away, get that one out, and I'll show you how that one works. This is the Marlin Model 795 here. The Model 60 is pretty much the same gun, except the 795 is magazine fed and the Model 60 is tube fed. But this other stock here from Badger, this is a camo one. It's pretty cool, kind of a swirled plastic design on it there. It's pretty much the same thing. This one has a couple extra other little features on it. You do have the option to use the butt plate here as a cover for a storage area. You've got the option for a little storage area inside there. Now this one is going to work a little bit different. You actually have to take the trigger assembly out of here and transfer it to this stock, and then put your action in there, and same thing, it's going to locate your action farther to the back there, so now you've got that shorter BullPup design there. Let's go ahead and get this thing put together and see how it does. Now this is a little more complicated, there's a little more you got to do to it, but we'll get it put together and see how it looks. Alright, on the stock for the Model 60 or 795, or also the, I think it's the Papoose, this stock fits all three of those guns. It may fit more, I don't know. But anyways, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get this little plate out here, this little block piece, and you're going to want to get this rod out of here. Now, I'm not going to go into too much details on this because Gary has a couple videos on YouTube that show you how to assemble these, and he goes into a lot more detail than I'm going to go on these. But you are going to have to, since these guns operate a little bit differently, this is going to need to be attached to your trigger. And like I said, your trigger assembly you're going to want to take out of your rifle completely, and this is going to slide over the end of it there, and then you've got that little screw you're going to have to snug up on there. And what that'll do is when you pull your trigger, it'll allow this rod to move and, you know, work your action in the back there. We'll go ahead and get this put back in the stock and get it all assembled, and then see how it looks. Alright guys, I got the Model 795 action all mounted up in the Badger gun stock for the 795 or Model 60. It is magazine fed, so you can load the magazine in there still. They do make some extended magazines, and they will work in this. Another nice feature they put on here is if you've got a spare magazine you want to take with you, you've got storage in the handle there. You can slide one in there and have it in just in case. Mounts in there, locks in. Everything works just like it's supposed to. Safety up there is still accessible, and it still fires. It's a nice little compact package too. You can still shoulder it, it's still legal length, everything is the same, it's the exact same gun, it's just a little bit shorter, more compact stock for it. It does have a strap to go on the front there, it's the same thing, it's got attachment points on the front. I mean, it's a good looking rifle. It's still got the sling attachments on it, a little extra capacity storage for the magazine, and it functions just like it should. And same thing, you can use this with the open sights, or he does include a rail here. Now this is set up for the 3/8 dovetail, so it mounts on the top of the receiver, and you've got a piece here that mounts where your rear sight would mount on the barrel there. So that allows you to put an optic on there and keep it a little bit more forward, so you've got that eye relief you need. There's another little extra piece of rail there. Here's the piece if you're putting it in the Model 60. That's going to go under there. You've got that little plate that blocks off your existing magazine well hole there. If you're using the Model 60, this will go in there and fill that in. And then you've got the different plate that goes on the back there. Of course, if you're using the Model 60, it's tube fed, so you don't need that. But it's really, it is a good looking little stock there, and it's comfortable, It's easy to carry, it's easy to maneuver with it because you don't have this unwieldy, this great big long rifle out there. And it's versatile, it looks pretty good, and it's functional. We'll get these things out on the range, and of course they're going to be just as accurate as they were. Now, if it was up to me, I like the Model 7, I like the Marlin action better than I do the Ruger 1022. Plus, the Ruger 1022 is a more expensive rifle than the Marlin Model 60 or the Model 795. These are a lot cheaper. There's a little more involvement in putting this in there. It's not as easily swapped as the Ruger 1022 because the control rod that goes in here, you may have to do a little tweaking to get it to work right. But once you've got everything set and adjusted where you want it, it's going to function just like it should. It's a nice compact design. And really, it's a pretty good little deal if you ask me. Let's get these things out on the range and give them a few tries. Like I said, really, it does not change anything about the action of the rifle. It is still the same rifle. It's just in a neat little BullPup package. Now, I do have the BX25 magazine on here. It will hold the regular 10-round magazine, 15-round, 25-round. So there's plenty of clearance between the pistol grip and the magazine. I don't know if you can do the 50s, but the 50 is just two 25s kind of stuck together. So it probably will do those too. It does kind of get in the way of your wrist a little bit. It's not like it's pushing up against it or anything, but it shoots just the same as it did before, and it's the same gun. It's just a neat little package. It's convenient, it's light, it's easy to handle, easy to maneuver. Let's try the 795 also. The gun functions just like it did from the factory. Like I said, it's just a smaller, more convenient package to carry around with you. All right, there they are. These are the gun stocks from Badger Gun Stocks. This one's for the 1022. This one is, I have it currently set up in the 795. It will fit the Marlin Model 60 also if you want to put it in there, or the Papoose and probably a couple other ones. But in my opinion, the setup for the Ruger 1022 is the easiest. It's pretty much just drop in and one little adjustment and go. The Marlin one is a little different. You actually have to mount your trigger group in here separately from the action because that's just the way they're designed. But the Marlin is going to be a less expensive choice as far as your action. Your rifle that you're going to get to put in here is going to be a lot less expensive than the Ruger is. But either one that you want, if you've got an extra Ruger that you'd like to change the look of and the feel of and everything, go for it. If you've got an extra 795 or a Marlin Model 60, you want to do that one, go for it. Get one of each. They're pretty good design. They're not very expensive. And I will put a link in the description to take you to Badger Gun Stocks. I don't make anything off of this. He sent them to me, wanted me to review them, so that's what I'm doing. And I like both of them, and I'll probably pick me up an extra 795 just to put in this one. If I come across a good deal on a Ruger, I may swap it over too, but I like the conventional ones. I like the BullPup designs, and these are going to be a lot less expensive than a P90, S.C.A.R, AUG, any of the other larger caliber BullPup designs. Anyways, thanks for watching Small Caliber Arms Review. If you could, hit this button up here to subscribe, hit this button over here to check out some of my other videos, and thanks for watching Small Caliber Arms Review, and check out Badger Gun Stocks.